But Mark, let's move on. And the third team we're talking about in this preview, if you're on YouTube, welcome in Charger fans to the preview as we continue on our AFC West preview. Before we get into everything, make sure to follow MVP at twitch.tv/Most Valuable Podcast. Going to be starting to do podcasts live for you guys on Twitch. We've done a few already, kind of troubleshooting, and we now can have subs on Twitch. So that means if you have Amazon Prime, have Twitch Prime, you can throw us that free sub that they give you each and every month. It's like free money that you can throw at somebody on Twitch. And I'm basically Kurt Schilling, Mark. Why not us? Yeah. Why not us? Just the Kurt Schilling from the Red Sox when they beat the Yankees coming back 3-0. Why not us? So if you got the Amazon Prime, why not throw that at us and help us out? Twitch.tv/Most Valuable Podcast. But this Charger team, Mark, let's go through the rankings for them. They were 11th in total offense last year, yards per game, 372 yards per contest. 6th in points per game offensively, 26.8. Defensively, they were 9th, 333 yards given up. They were 8th in points per game, giving up 20.6 points per contest. This is a team during free agency that signed Thomas Davis to a 2-year deal coming over from the Carolina Panthers. They re-signed Brandon Mabane. They re-signed Adrian Phillips, Denzel Perryman, and they signed Tyrod Taylor to a 2-year deal coming over from the Cleveland Browns. This is a team that didn't do much free agency to change the landscape of their team. It's still going to be Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. Yeah, they lost Tyrell Williams. He is now in Oakland. So you might have Travis Benjamin be that third guy for this team, but they still have Hunter Henry. They still have Virgil Green in the tight end race. They still got Melvin Gordon. What should Charger fans expect from their Chargers this year, who were a playoff team a year ago?
Yeah, they sure were a playoff team last year, and they were a really good team, too. Not only were they one of the better defenses in the NFL, they were also one of the better offenses in the NFL. So they kind of had the whole thing going for them. And I look at that Chargers team, and, you know, I think that this team, they had this... When they played some tougher teams, that's kind of when they struggled. You look last year at them losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. So did pretty much everybody else. You look at them losing to the LA Rams. So did pretty much everybody else. You know, they were a team that were a really, really good team. They weren't necessarily ready to take that next step yet. And part of that, I have to put some blame last year in the playoffs for them when they played the New England Patriots. Was the stubbornness of a coach to not being willing to change his defensive scheme that was not working against New England as they were going on a roll, scoring 41 points. The things you were able to do against Lamar Jackson were not going to work against Tom Brady. And you needed to be able and willing to make those changes a little bit faster because Rivers isn't going to carry a whole team on his own. And, of course, in the playoffs, the running game was a bit of a struggle. But anyways... This team should expect, I think, more of the positives, like more of the same in the positives. More really good seasons out of Phillip Rivers. The running game hopefully gets a little bit better. They were above average, but they could do to be a little bit better this year as well. And a really strong defense with a really strong pass rush. That pass rush is really what carries this defense, and you need it when you're going up against guys like Patrick Mahomes. You know, you need to have that really, really strong defense. So I hope for their sake that they're able to kind of get that going. I would love to see them kind of maybe get a little less sacks on your 37-year-old quarterback. I think that would be kind of a nice advantage too. He'll be 38 towards the end of the season. So that might be helpful for you. Because you look at Phillip Rivers, the guys behind him like Tyrod Taylor and Cardale Jones, this is your boom or bust right here. You do not have a quarterback of the future here. You got to make this run. You got to take advantage of this amazing roster that you have. Go for that Super Bowl run this year because I don't think you have that much left with Phillip Rivers.
Yeah, and the thing that I think of is this might be the year where if I'm a Charger fan, I'm thinking this is our year to pounce. This is the year we pounce on this division. And the reason why I say that, the Kansas City Chiefs. And we're going to get in the Chiefs to end the podcast. They were the best team in the division last year. But you look at this division a year ago, there were only, a game that separated these two teams? Because, I mean, they were tied. If the Chargers would have won one more game or the Chiefs would have lost one more game, it's flipped. And I think that this year, especially with the Chiefs, you look at it. Kareem Hunt's not there anymore. Tyreek Hill's uncertain because of his legal issues that are going on right now. This is a team, the Chiefs defensively last year were not that good. Like, if you look at yards per game, I'll spoil it. They were 31st and 32nd, I want to say, in defense, in the defensive stats that I read off at the beginning of each segment. Yeah, they were They were 31st in yards per game, giving up about 405 yards to each team. They were 24th in points per game, giving up 26.3. And I think that the Chargers, based on the Chiefs and what the Chiefs are losing this year, I look at the Chargers and I go, this is your time to pounce. Phillip Rivers is getting older. Patrick Mahomes is still young. Like, yeah, I know they still have Patrick Mahomes, and he could probably will that team to the playoffs and to a good record. But I almost look at what the Chiefs are losing, and I look at the Chargers and go, this is your time. You were tied with this team last year in the record books. This is your time to pounce. Take this division from the Chiefs before the window closes on your fingertips and you fall down from the window that you're trying to get into, which is called the playoffs, which is called the Super Bowl.
Yeah, and, this is a team that has everything they need. Of course, you want to... I don't really understand what was going on with Melvin Gordon necessarily throughout the year last year.
Injured.
Yeah, and he was never looking like he was over it either.
He was good before the... I only know because I had him on my fantasy team. Good before the injury, but then, after the injury was good game, bad game, good game, bad game.
Yeah, and then in the playoffs, just running game was essentially non-existent for the Chiefs. But, yeah, I mean, you're spot on with it, too. It's just you don't have much left out of Phillip Rivers. We're spoiled right now because, like I said, Drew Brees, Big Ben, Phillip Rivers, Tom Brady. We've got all these really old quarterbacks that are still playing really well.
Yeah.
That's not the norm. Unless we're just seeing a completely new era where quarterbacks play into their 40s. You don't have that much left with Phillip Rivers. You got to capitalize on it. And especially, too, I mean, you got two good teams in LA right now. Be the first one that gets to that Super Bowl. It is kind of that race to see which one gets a Super Bowl
the
first.
Rams did get to the Super Bowl.
I mean, win and actually...
Yeah.
Well, I also mean, play in the Super Bowl would be helpful, too.
We taking shots at the Rams? Is that what we're doing?
You guys scored 3 points.
Sean McVay, this offense is so scary.
Right? Yeah.
I mean, Bill Belichick was on the other side. He usually does know how to game plan for teams. Especially when you give him 2 weeks to do so. Man.
He's also lost Super Bowls, though, too. So.
Yeah, but no one expected that Philly special, man. You gotta trick the Belichick. That's what you gotta do.
So what they should have done,
you gotta trick him,
is bench Jared Goff. Is what they should have done.
Jared Goff wasn't playing well towards the end. People,
no.
that was like a serious question heading into the playoffs, which is like, you're freaking kidding me, right? But yeah, it's like the Chargers. I look at it and I go, this is your time to pounce. If you have a healthy Melvin Gordon, I know Keenan Allen has struggled. Like, that receiving
injuries
core
have
has
just been the worst for this team
with injuries as well. But I have a feeling with what the Chiefs have lost coming into this year and could potentially lose with Tyreek Hill. It's just I look at it and I go, like, D Ford's not on this team anymore. I know Frank Clark coming in kind of replaces that, but it's like, wow, like, this is a team that needs to strike now or else that window might be, bam, shut, and it might not open in the Phillip Rivers era ever again. What are your thoughts looking at the schedule when it comes to this team?
You know, the schedule for the Chargers, obviously it starts to get tougher as you move up and up because of those other teams that you get to play, the two kind of mystery teams. But when one of them is the Dolphins, you feel pretty good about it. You know, I think the Chargers are that team that they're going to beat those teams like the Colts. I mean, it's not a guarantee, but I'm going to pick
They have a better shot than the two we just talked about.
I'm going to take the Chargers over a team like the Colts. I'm going to take them, well, it's early, but still, probably over the Texans. I'm going to take the Chargers as well. I think they've got a really good shot getting right back into the playoffs. Being able to make kind of a run in the AFC, I think they can get close to taking it. I mean, literally, both teams were 12-4. Last year between the Chiefs and the Chargers. They were not that far from being the division winner last year. I think they can kind of go right back and do it again. The big advantage I think they have over the Chiefs, a ton of pressure on the Chiefs, no pressure on the Chargers, really.
And the thing that I kind of look at, too, when it comes to the schedule, and I know that other teams might be able to come in and steal a game on the Chargers, but I look at it and there's not a big section of the schedule that's like, wow, watch out for this one. Because
you're going to lose the next 6 games.
Well, it's like the Colts. Okay, but then you get the Lions. Then Houston. Okay, but then you get the Dolphins and then Broncos. All right, the Steelers. Oh, but then you get Tennessee. Bears and Packers. Oh, but then you get Oakland. And it's like, I feel like the only time that it's really bunched up is to end it, you get Jacksonville, Minnesota, then Oakland, and then Kansas City to end things out, where it's like,
yeah, it's not bad.
That is the only part of the section of the schedule that is condensed into, wow, that's a hard portion of the schedule. Everything else is kind of like hard game, harder game, easier game, harder game, easier game, harder game, easier game, almost all the way through their schedule.
Here's the problem for Chargers fans. I'm feeling good about your chances this year. And usually when I feel good about the Chargers, you guys do terribly.
You bolt up?
Yeah, if I bolt up, you guys let me down. So maybe feel a little bit nervous about that.
Mark's like, I don't know if I want to bolt up, but I will ask you, what do you think is the percentage that this team wins the division next year over the Chiefs? And will it, like... Yes, there's a percentage. So, like, even if you give 60%, is that 60% going to come true?
Well, actually, I'm glad you say 60 because 60 was what I was going to say.
Okay.
60% chance. I do have them taking the division over the Chiefs right now. Is it going to come true? As long as injuries don't come and bite this team, I think it will. But injuries were biting the team last year, and they were still 12-14.
And I kind of feel like in the playoffs, if we look to that side of it, this is a team that needs to be one of the top 2 teams in the AFC.
Get those home games.
A, get those home games, but B, don't see the Patriots until you absolutely have to.
Yeah. Hope that somebody else takes care of the Patriots for you.
Welcome in someone from Wild Card. It's nice to meet you.
We'll see you later.
And then we'll meet the Patriots if we have to in the AFC Championship game. The other big thing is just there are tough games on the schedule. And how do you get through those? The Bears, the Packers, the Colts, the Texans. How do you get past those? And what do you really do in those games on top of the easier games? Any final thoughts you got on the Chargers before we move on?
Chargers fans, once again, I'm sorry, but I'm feeling good about it.
Looks like Mark's bolting up. But Charger fans, let us know what you guys think down below in that comment section. Are you high in your team? Low on your team? No one's low on their team at this point in the season. Everyone could win the Super Bowl if they wanted to. But let us know what you guys think down below.